Welcome back to the PT Graduate Podcast. My guest today, Madre Collier. Hello.
Hi, how are
How?
you?
Very well, thank you. Very well. How about yourself?
I'm good, thanks. Yep.
Great. Great. Coming to us all the way from Rotorua, right?
Yes.
Fantastic. How is it down there? We've had a bit of a mixed one today.
Overcast and raining.
Mm.
Yay.
Just in time for the weekend.
Yes.
Well, you can't control it. So,
Yep.
Madre, you've been in the industry a number of years. I saw somewhere 10, but it's more than 10, isn't it?
It's about 16. Yep.
Yeah, I thought so. I thought so.
Yeah.
And you're well experienced, and you cover a lot of ground with that experience. And some of the things that I've found, obviously, PT, movement coach, rehab specialist, Pilates instructor. You cover pre and postnatal, peri and postmenopause, specialist in pelvic floor. I mentioned Pilates, um, small group, and PT. So a number of, I guess you've accumulated qualifications as time has gone on, as most of us
Yes.
do over the years. What's brought you to the space that you're in now, and the types of clients that you see?
Um, it actually sort of fell into place. So I had started when I first finished studying and I did my normal PT, and then I started working at Pilates Studio. And there were a couple of physios that used to come and they were like, oh, you have an eye for detail in
Uh,
regards to how the bodies were moving and stuff.
yep,
And then I got pregnant and had kids,
yep,
and then I started working on my own. So I enjoyed working at the studio, but it was very limited to what you can do. Like Pilates is
mm,
Pilates.
mm,
So since working in my own studio at home, I've broadened what I've done. So having had a lot of rehab clients with referrals, and that's how I mainly work is referrals with
right,
other allied professionals, so that we can help those people get better. I learned that
mm,
there's it's not just always exercise. Sometimes no two people that come in with the same injury, you can approach the same. You know, the exercises aren't the same, the cues are different.
mm,
And sometimes you'll do a lot of movement, but then there was still restrictions. So I was like, oh, what else can we do? So
mm,
I've done a bit of scar tissue release. I've done some myofascial hands-on work. I've
mm,
done some myofascial movement work as well, incorporating all of that and getting into the vagus nerve and just some neural stuff as well. And it's just kind of
wow,
combining it. So sometimes a session would be like today. They're
mm,
coming in, they're in pain. We have to do a bit of hands on first. So we do a bit of
right,
myofascial release.
yep,
Then we do some myofascial movement, and then we can do some exercise. So
mm,
connective work to get those muscles
yeah,
that we've released and the surrounding ones working.
I like
So
it.
and I don't know, I love having all these tricky little cases. Like, oh my gosh, I've got a client that has had an ankle replacement. I mean,
Right.
there's not really much out there, so you have to research, and you're like, well, what could we do to help this, and what can
Mm,
do that? And I love like the little bits, the little hard
mm,
to see things. It's kind of,
yes.
and that's what
Yes.
I do. Yeah.
Problem solving.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Body detective work.
Yes. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Well, it gets this stuff going. The grey matter has to work hard, right? And you're trying to, because often, where people are suffering isn't the source of the problem, is it? It's somewhere else in the body. And
Yeah.
that's when your brain starts going, okay, if that's the issue, where in the chain do we need to go to try and find the cause? Because that's the ultimate, really, isn't it? You want to find the cause of the problem so that you can fix it for good, as
Yeah.
opposed to treating the symptom, treating the symptom, treating the symptom each time they come in.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm,
And
mm,
you know, when they walk in, you have a plan. And when they walk in, they could have not had a good night's sleep. They could have had a really stressful day, or they
mm,
just in super pain. So you can't
mm.
give them what you've planned for them. You have to be able to give them something different. So it's
Yeah.
for that day, for that time, what they need at the
Yes.
time.
Yeah.
Um, and then you also become a bit of like a therapist as well,
Yeah.
because when people are in pain, it's they offload that to you.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's I've taken a little bit of time to not take it on board and on myself
Mm, mm,
to to be the one that fixes them. Like
mm.
it's they have to do their part as well. So
Yeah.
some of the courses I've done, like osteofascial release and that, you can give them some tools for them to take home and they can do some
Yeah.
self-release stuff. So
Yeah.
I feel that that's really empowering for them as well, giving them
Mm,
little tools in their own box to help themselves if they're
mm,
in pain and that. And to me,
mm.
that's huge.
I like it. I like it. Yeah, you're right. I think their ownership of it is important, isn't it? Because you
Yeah.
don't want them to feel like they're just outsourcing it to you, because then there's no accountability, there's no ownership of fully remedying the challenge for themselves. That can be a challenge though sometimes, can't it?
It is because we do what we do because we want to help people, right?
Mm, mm,
We've either at some point in our lives had some pain or something, and we can totally relate to it. So we know that it doesn't feel great.
mm,
It's very debilitating, and it's sad seeing those people coming in every week and they're just in this funk. It's
mm.
you we give a lot of ourselves
Yeah.
to our clients because we're with them for such a long time and we're with
Mm,
them every week or maybe
mm.
more than once a week. And so you feel you kind of become part of their life, but we also have to remember that we also have limits too.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a hard one, isn't it?
It is a hard one, and I think it's something that if you don't think about it or give it any time to think about it, it's easy to absorb that stuff quickly
Yeah,
and sort of feel like at the end of the day you're exhausted, but you're loaded up with everybody's problems.
yeah,
And just finding that line where you're you're fully invested in them and their journey, but you have the ability to then shut the door at the end of the day and leave it in the room
yes,
rather than it follow you home. And I think that takes time. Well, it did for me anyway. It takes time to develop that skill, I
yeah.
think. Mm,
It's taken time. I remember getting super burnt out because I'd be
mm,
all the time messaging and
mm.
sending little videos and trying to help. And if yeah, you know the ones that are want to help themselves and that, and you know the ones that just expect you to do it for them.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and that's kind of one of the reasons I like working with the physios and the osteos and that is that
Mm,
I do my exercise part of it. I can do a bit of hands-on stuff, but you still need them to go to the physio to have the other hands-on stuff they do, and that communication between the two of you would be like, hey, so and so has this and this. This is what I've given them. This is what we need to work towards. And then I can do that part. Or if I see
yeah.
something, it's that communication. So that as we're working
Mm,
for that person and getting them to where they want to go, because eventually, they need to move on and
mm,
live their best lives
mm.
and not just be coming all the time for the same thing. And
Yeah, yeah.
I work really hard to get that network going because I just
Yes.
feel it's so important. There's so many different aspects to a person that we can't do it all.
Agreed. Agreed. I mean, it'd be nice to, but we've got to be realistic as well, haven't we? We're not supposed to be in every single lane. We've got,
No,
a lane or two based on our quals, and it's
yeah.
important to stay in those. How you talked about that at the beginning, the referrals, the allied health. Is there a particular approach that you take with that to develop that network? Because that's come up in a number of conversations that I've had with people. How do you do it? How have you developed those networks so that they're strong?
Well, mine came when I was working at the Pilates studio, and I happened to take each of those
Yeah,
physios
yeah,
for a session
mm,
for the little bits of stuff they had. Um, and then I was seeing them as well too. One of the physios I'm friends with, and then some of the osteos they've come to my group classes, and I've gone to
right.
them. So I kind of they
Mm,
normally come. I normally give them a session so they can see what I do and talk
mm,
about, and that's kind of how I've gotten into it. And I'm
okay.
just really happy to listen. I mean,
Yeah.
they have so much more knowledge. That's just it's amazing what they have, and so if being open to learning is good. So it's kind of
Mm,
that's how I've done it. I haven't
okay.
like gone to have talks or anything, but
Yeah, yeah.
I've just kind of taken them. Yeah,
I like it. I think that's a really smart way because then it sort of sells itself. They're experiencing it firsthand, and I guess they're
yeah,
probably going to be kinesthetic learners based on the fact that they're in the work that they are in, right?
yeah,
So you're tapping into that dominant learning style straight away, and that's
yeah,
that's surely going to make stronger connections than
yeah,
showing them your qualifications or telling them the types of people you work with. They're experiencing that, and that's a smart way of doing it, and it isn't the way everybody I've spoken to about it does do it. So I'm glad I asked that question because that's certainly revealed a different way of looking at it. So beyond the referrals and the networks and the types of clients that you work with, you mentioned there's sort of a bit of a process that you follow when a client comes in, particularly if you're not sure what you're expecting. Talk me through a little bit of the middle bit, the sort of the myofascial type movement for people who may be listening that aren't that familiar with the system. They may be very familiar with the stage three where you're doing the gym work. What sort of things are you looking for? How do you work with people when there's that middle step needed to get that myofascial system working well before you then hit the gym equipment?
So I did JPs,
Yeah,
myofascial appraisal
yeah,
movement. So
yeah.
oftentimes it would be my part of my assessment. If somebody comes in, we will
Mm,
go through the superficial back line, front line, deep front line, and lateral lines
yeah.
because it's a nice way for them to get in tune with their own body as well
Mm,
and what
mm,
they feeling when you watching and observing how they're moving because you can already see sometimes sort of what's going in by how they're moving or walking in and that kind of
yeah.
stuff, but it's to get them to feel it themselves, and
Yes.
it's quite it's quite cool to see
Mm,
when they've like started off with the discovery move and it's like these restrictions, and then as you do it they're like, oh my gosh, and that's that
mhm.
instant being able to have that freedom or feeling lighter or I feel taller, and that's it's just kind of it starts it off quite well that hey,
Yeah,
listen,
yeah.
you can feel this way by doing this, and
Mm,
then if you want to
mm.
go into more muscle activation stuff then you can do a bit more of your other testing. So that's kind of how I explain to them a bit of what it is. Um I've got the pictures of the
Yes,
different
the
myofascial
lines.
lines, so I explain, they can see what it is, your
Yeah,
usual explaining stuff.
yeah.
But it's always better. I know for me, I like to for me to be able to feel what I'm doing or what I need to activate makes me understand it a bit more. And
Mm,
so sometimes just showing something is when that it doesn't always work. Some people are quite visual and some people need to feel it. And most of the time,
yes.
if they're feeling it, it's just getting them in tune, I guess.
Yeah,
Have you
yeah,
answered it?
yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. You're right because you know what you're focusing on. They don't necessarily know the
Yeah,
concept. But as
yeah,
you go through it step by step, they're having to tune into what's going on in their body. And you're asking the question, and not everybody's tuned into their body, are they? You're
no,
asking the
no,
question, and they're
yeah,
like, I don't know. What's it supposed to feel like? Well, you can't tell someone what something's supposed to feel like because
no,
everybody's different.
yeah,
But it's an education process for them, isn't it? And I think you're right.
yeah,
It's a great way of getting them into their body so that it may not, the penny may not drop in session one, but you do it a couple of times and
yeah.
they start getting more in tune with their body. And so therefore they can help you with the challenges that they're facing because they are able to communicate it better to you.
Yeah. It's like I have this couple that comes, and the husband was getting all these pains and stuff, and we did some osteofascial releasing
Yeah.
with a roller, and
Mm.
coming in not really being too aware, they came back and like, wow, I did the rolling, and then it released there, and then this part got a bit tight. So then I went to that part, and I'm like, great, you don't always have to follow a certain sequence. Your body is telling you how you need to go to release it. And then I did this movement, and it was there, and then I did this, and it felt good. And I'm like, yay, that is awesome because that's an awareness. Then it's like,
Mm,
oh,
mm,
I don't have to feel scared anymore that I'm going to be sore because I have something that can help me
mm,
with that.
mm, mm.
And to me, that was like, yay! I'm so happy. I've
That's
achieved
awesome.
something. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And because they've felt it for themselves, they kind of know what they need to do next time to
Yes.
recreate it
Yes.
or to progress it further.
That's it.
It's
So it's
brilliant.
taking that. It's just listening to your body. I reckon
Mm,
more of us need to do that because it tells us, it gives us signals, right?
it does. It does.
And if we
Yeah.
listen to those signals early enough, then we can hopefully not get to the point where it's too late and you have to go
Mm,
and get heaps of treatment somewhere
mm,
else.
mm, mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All that prevention stuff. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
good. I've got your I don't know what you'd call it. Maybe your model or your creed or you tell me what it is. So you've got these words. So you've got three words. So you've got ability, motivation, and attitude. So ability is what you're capable of doing.
yeah.
Your motivation determines what you do, and attitude determines how well you do it. I quite like it. Tell me a bit more about that.
Oh, I actually was looking for awesome quotes a long time ago when I first started my business, and that
Yeah,
came up and it really resonated with me because that is basically it speaks for itself, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
I
so I
agree.
just, yeah, that just resonated, and I was like, that's it. That's what I'm. That's what I'm keeping. Yeah.
Ah, yeah, yeah. And so how does that come up often? Do people talk about it much when they've seen it on your website?
Um. No, they don't actually. I don't know why.
Okay.
They should. They should. They should be like, hey, that's amazing. Um. No, I get my website is an interesting one because it needs more.
Right.
We did it a long time ago when I first started.
Mm.
Like I said, I get a lot of more referrals, so I don't get a lot of people through the website. Sometimes I
Yeah,
do.
yeah, yeah.
Most of the time, we would then have a telephone conversation, or we would have a consult, and then we would talk through stuff. I wish, yeah, I should maybe make it bigger and put it as my motto everywhere. Um,
Yeah.
yeah,
But I noticed in one of your, I think it was either on the website or one of your socials, you've got it on the wall.
yeah.
Yeah.
I had it on the wall in my old gym. I haven't got it in
Ah,
my new one, so I need to get it. Yeah,
got you. Yeah.
yeah.
So your kids were little and they were hanging off you, and
Yes,
there was a little bit of writing
yes,
behind you. I was like, oh, it's that writing.
yes. Like I said, we actually hubby helped make the website, so it needs to be done. I am
Okay.
social media and website and stuff is something I need to work on. Yes, because we all have our strong points, and that's not something I enjoy.
Fair enough.
Um, and I haven't had to do lots of that because, like I said, with the referral stuff.
Mm, mm.
But it is nice to put out what you have and what you do. I think in
Yeah.
this day and age. So that is something that I'm going to be working on.
Sure thing. Yeah, no, absolutely. The great thing is you haven't had to rely on it, and you've got this other channel of referrals that is sounds strong and robust, and it's 99% of the sales job is done before they meet you, whereas website inquiries, it's probably more like 50-50. It's
Yeah,
you've got the other 50 to make up in that first meeting and make sure there's some chemistry before you kind of go, yeah, this is the right person for me, or no, it's not. So I think you've got it the right way around, I think.
yeah. And I, because the physios that I do work with, they are very holistic as well. And often people go to them after they've done lots of stuff. So
Mm,
we share some very interesting clients. Yeah,
mm,
that sometimes have tried everything and this is the last straw. So
really?
um, yeah,
Crikey.
it's great. You know, just
Mm,
I think a lot of clients like you would have had people come through too. It's just somebody to listen. I think
yeah.
I think
Yeah.
oftentimes when you've been in a lot of pain and you've or had surgeries and things haven't gone well and you've got bounce from one specialist to the next specialist and that kind of stuff, it does wear you down a bit, and just having somebody go, okay, I hear you. All right, what is it you would like? What is it that
Mm,
you feel you need?
mm,
You know,
mm.
that's it's having that as well. So I think listening is a good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're right. And it can be the first time that some people have actually been listened to properly.
Yeah,
Um, was I listening to the radio or something? Can't remember where it was, but the number of complaints, people complaining about doctors gaslighting them,
yeah,
particularly ladies, doctors dismissing people's symptoms. I'm thinking they're not there for the fun. They're there because there's a problem. There's something's
yeah,
going on. Either
yeah,
you don't have enough education or you've just got the most appalling attitude and you should not be in general practice. It beggars belief that the people that we hold up as being, not necessarily the pinnacle of the medical system, but a real mainstay of the medical system. I mean, obviously there's good and bad in
yeah,
every place, but just hearing that mainstream media, you've got to get it in context. But it really saddens me that people are being treated like that, and sometimes we are the last resort, last not resort's the wrong word, last you know option for people when they've been not listened to and things haven't worked and people have been less than good at their job.
yeah.
Mm.
It's sad. I
Mm,
think because you don't fit into boxes. Like
mm,
when you go in and you're like, hey, I've got this and this and this. If there isn't any extra stuff, then it's
mm,
not,
mm.
it's not ticking the box. So there's nothing wrong with you.
Yeah, yeah,
Or sometimes they're just like, well, there isn't anything structurally wrong or whatever. It's just pain. Here's medicine. And that doesn't,
yeah,
there's
yeah.
two ways. You have some really, like you say, really, really good doctors. And then you've got the
Mm,
ones that are like, oh no, especially with some of the menopause stuff and perimenopause
mm,
stuff.
mm.
You're only 35. You shouldn't be in perimenopause now. I'm not going to give you this, or we're not going to do that. But how do you know? Because some
Yeah,
people go early.
yep.
If she's coming in and she's giving, there's over 100 symptoms and signs.
Mm,
If she's coming in with a little list of what she has,
mm,
and you're still dismissing her, well, then that's not cool.
mm, mm.
But
No.
it's a hard one. It's a hard one
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah, it is. And I know that, some have better education than others, and some have continued to educate themselves, whereas some haven't.
yeah
You've probably got more, peri and postmenopausal hours under your belt than a lot of GPs. So, sometimes they're lucky to find somebody like you because you've got such a breadth of experience and knowledge, and you can take it to the point where your knowledge stops, but then you're also in a position to be able to go, actually, and I think this is the next person that you need to go and see,
yeah.
and they get that continuity of care and the right person listening to them.
Well, we're very lucky
Mm.
because we have some really good pelvic floor physios here in Rotorua. We've
Yep,
got two menopause doctors here in Rotorua.
fantastic.
Um, we do have a lovely network of people that you can go and see
Mm.
if your doctor is not helping, or there's some other issues that you need.
Yep,
We have
brilliant. Oh,
like,
that's
hey, this person's a really great person to go. I often, for myself, I would see whoever, if it's a massage therapist or if it's an osteo or physio or whoever it is that I refer someone to, I've gone there as well. So that,
yes.
because I don't like referring if I haven't gone.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I've gone there and I've gone, hey, listen, this is my experience. This is what I thought that would be good for you. There's some people that I'd send to that person. There's some people that I'd send to another person,
Mm.
depending on what they need, and it depends on personalities and that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. It does. It does. And you're right. You can't send someone. It's like a holiday or a trip or a hotel or something. You wouldn't send someone. Yeah, go and see. Yeah, they've got a 5-star review on
yeah,
Google. They must be fine. How do you know?
yeah,
You've got to have stayed there before you can start recommending places.
yeah.
And it's the same with health professionals. So staying in this sort of holistic space. So on your website, it's never just about exercise. Rather, taking a general approach to fitness by looking at sleep, work, life balance, nutrition, movement, and holistically how they are all connected.
Yeah.
I like it. How often do you get into those other areas? The sleep, the
All
work
the
life,
time.
nutrition, all the yeah. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, as soon as a person walks to the door, I can see,
Yeah,
hey,
yeah.
what was your sleep like last night? Or how
Mm,
you I always check in. I'm like,
mm.
how was your sleep? How are you feeling? I've got two power plates, which are awesome. So
Oh
if
yeah.
I've got a highly stressed out person, I'm going to put them on there for 5 minutes just to do some breathing, just to
Nice.
get them into that parasympathetic state, and then we'll
Yeah.
start moving, because I'm not going to take a stressed person and get them through exercise.
Mm, mm, mm.
So it's always checking in, even in my group classes, because they are not one size fits all either. I've got
Yeah.
interesting group fitness classes too, but
Okay.
I only
Keen
have a
to
max
hear.
of 5 or 6 people. So,
Yep. Yep.
they come in, like especially mums and bubs, and I'm like, okay, how are we all feeling today? And if some are a little bit tired and some have got more energy, we just make the class so that everybody can work at their level.
Right.
So it's a check in with every session.
Mm, mm. Excellent. Not just the individual stuff.
Yeah. Because
Love
that's
it.
important. If you haven't had enough sleep,
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, if you've had a hard day with the kids and you burst out crying, I'm there to give you a hug. We just, it's a lovely, safe environment that that person can come in and offload if they need to, or just be what they need to be so that we can then move.
Brilliant. Brilliant. I love it the way you've set that up so that people can be all those things
Yeah.
in one space, which is awesome. I had a similar thing with a client this morning who's loves his tech, and realized that his heart rate wasn't coming down as quickly as normal. And I was quite pleased that he identified that his late night sleep, I think he was in bed by midnight, which is pretty late,
Sure.
was the reason his heart rate wasn't coming down. I was like, yes, it's sinking in.
That's
I don't
great,
need
eh?
I don't need to say any more. You know
Yeah,
what you need to do because you just told me.
that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
How cool is that?
Oh, it's great, isn't it? It's like, the pennies dropped,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and yeah, people don't know that. They don't always realize that's one of the reasons that it could be. You might be fighting an infection. There might be something else going. You're
Yeah.
dehydrated. But if you don't ask those questions, it doesn't take long to just throw a couple of questions at somebody, and then it makes them start thinking, and then they usually know what it is within about 30 seconds of you asking.
Which is good.
It is.
I think we as PTs are in a really special position that um, if we make it safe enough for them to be able to ask us questions, you can
Mm,
find out heaps of stuff that
mm,
could then explain why they are the way they are, and then you can explore ways that they and yourself can help them.
yeah,
And I
yeah,
think that's where the listening comes in. It's very important. You know,
yeah,
sometimes they end up talking about pelvic floor stuff that, especially with
yeah.
the other older ladies that are in that later stage, and that was never talked about. And the
Mm,
husbands talk about it too, and it's really cool that you can bring that conversation in and
yeah.
be comfortable with uncomfortable conversations, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, yeah, that listening helps build trust, doesn't it? It's one of
Yes.
those components where you 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 you're not judging. I think that's the most important thing. People want to know that they can come into those spaces and not be judged. I think
Yeah.
that's a critical one. But once they feel safe and you've been maybe vulnerable yourself, they feel like they can be vulnerable, and then that opens the floodgates to a whole bunch of conversations that might not have otherwise happened.
Exactly. I am definitely an open book. I remember when I was studying to be a PT, I was the oldest I think I was like 29 and had all these little 18-year-olds. And I'm sure the
Yeah,
instructor was probably a couple of years older than me, but he said to me, you won't be a good PT because you show your emotions too much. And I thought, no, I think I'll be a good PT because we need to be relatable. If I was just always la 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 la
yeah,
and ha it's
yeah.
good if you are happy. I'm not saying that I'm going to be moody,
Hmm.
but you've how can you expect people to be real with you if you're not real? And I was like, that
Yeah.
was mean. I mean, at the time, I was like, what? Only he told me I was a bit aggressive because obviously it was in South Africa. It was because I was at the age where I just go, okay, okay. I'm like, why do we have to do this? Why is
Yes.
this?
Yeah. Fair
You
enough.
ask questions.
Yeah.
I was like, okay. So that's kind of stuck with me. And then as I've
Mm,
gone along in my career, I've gone, you know what, actually, showing vulnerability and showing that you're human and your body also gets sore and that kind of stuff is so much more relatable because they'll
yeah.
feel more comfortable talking to you about stuff than if you
Exactly.
were always perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Absolutely. Couldn't agree more. It's interesting when people say those things, often they're seeing themselves in other people.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
True.
behavior they notice is the one that they're aware of.
Yeah.
If they say, "Oh, you're angry," well, they're probably angry themselves.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why did they notice that? So
Exactly.
it's always I'm always fascinated by people's comments. They think they've sussed something, and really they've just told you more about themselves.
That's true. I mean, look, as a South African, we are quite a straightforward people.
Yep,
You know,
yep. Straight
we
talking.
have to we say it like it is, and that's how it is. Well,
Yeah,
most of us,
yeah,
So
yeah.
it is a characteristic we have, which I don't think is a wrong thing. I have toned it down, so I'm not so, uh,
Yeah,
which I've had to learn as well. Um, and that's what you do as you go through
yeah.
people. I remember when I was first starting out, when I first moved to New Zealand, and I worked at a studio, and we are doing a lot more pull check kind of work,
Mm,
which
mm.
obviously I hadn't done in my training because I just
Yep,
did normal PT stuff.
right.
And she was big into pull check, so um, I was doing a Pilates class and there was this lady and I was really trying to encourage her and help her because that's what I'm like. And I think she felt she couldn't do it. And I'm like, you'll be able to do it. You're fine, you can. And she got upset and she left.
Oh,
And then, yeah, and then she came back and I said, look, I'm sorry. I really, really wanted to help you. And she's like, oh, that's okay. Thank you so much for telling me that. And then she came to classes all the time and she got to
cool.
do what she got to do. But at that time, I think it was,
Mm,
instead of in my eagerness to help, I
mm,
didn't take a
mm.
step back and go, actually, maybe she's feeling a little bit of pressure.
Yep,
You know,
yep, yep.
maybe she's not ready for that right now. She's
Yes,
not ready
yes,
to hear that. So maybe you should just back off and
yep,
wait.
yep.
And so I think as you go, you start learning to trust yourself and to listen to what their bodies are saying as well, not always
Mm,
what's in their
mm,
mouths,
mm.
because you can see hesitation and stuff. And so then you
Definitely.
need, learn, okay, this person needs a firmer talk, this person needs a gentler talk,
Yes,
one needs a little bit more guidance. You
yes.
learn to know who you have and how to approach your clients.
Yeah, yeah, I couldn't agree more. And even in those small group situations, each of those conversations might be on the same night, right? So it's
Yeah,
literally back to back to back, changing your language, your body language, your tone, your all the nuance that comes through when we communicate, and you get good at it, right? Because you're doing it regularly.
yeah,
You get to read you get to read movement, but you also get to read body language and facial features and all of that information, you just get good at it, right? You can
yeah,
see that weight's not heavy enough. We need another 5 kilos.
yeah,
That weight's too heavy. You're not getting that full range of movement, and the facial expression's telling me that you're struggling. Just there's a whole bunch of information that we're deciphering, and
yeah,
over the years it becomes second nature. And I think as a result of that, those people get such a good experience spending time with you because you're a master. There's always things to improve, but like you say, you've softened your the way you were brought up, I suppose.
yeah,
You've tweaked it for a New Zealand audience, which needed something slightly different, and
yeah,
you could have easily not done that, but I think you've been more successful because you did.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
You know, I think yes, I think it's very important how we approach people. Yeah. And like in I have this really cool lunchtime class with the youngest is turning 40 and the ladies are in their 70s. And
wow,
we've got like knee replacements and ankle surgery and shoulders and backs, and everyone's got something different, right?
yeah,
But it is my most fun class. It's my hardest
yeah,
in aspect of exercise prescription so that
mm,
everybody's feeling like they're exercising, because I've got to tweak things here and there. But it's my
mm,
most fun because they are so happy. I love it.
brilliant.
So every Wednesday, it's my Wednesday class. I have it. I know, okay, I'm going to have them. I have a plan. I always have a plan, but
Mm,
sometimes that changes.
mm,
So, and whatever ailments they have that day will change
mm,
it. But
mm,
yeah, I think it's kind of cool to be able to make everybody feel like they are working hard at their
yeah,
own pace and not feel bad that they're not doing what the other person is doing, or they're not as
yeah, yeah,
strong,
yeah, yeah.
or they can't exercise as much.
Yeah,
I think,
yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't compare yourself to them.
yeah,
Compare yourself to yourself yesterday.
yeah,
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 yeah. It's good. Talking about referrals, you work quite closely with Kirsty, don't you?
yes,
Yeah.
yeah,
I haven't actually spoken to her, and knowing we were going to chat today, I was like, need to ask Kirsty to jump on and do an episode with me because I'd love to pick her brains as well. And
yeah,
what you guys do complements each other, doesn't it? Because you'll send people two ways between each other.
yes, yes. So I probably do more of the like tricky rehabby stuff. I mean, I do have non rehabby clients as
Yeah,
well,
yeah,
but that's kind of my little niche. And then Kirsty is very much advocating for women's health.
yeah.
And so she does a lot more of the heavy lifting and the cardio and that kind of stuff. So oftentimes
Right.
they would probably come to me and then they could move on to her. Or if I feel a client would be better suited to her, or vice versa. She's
Yeah.
also quite big on neurodivergent clients and
Okay.
hypermobility and that, because she is hypermobile herself.
Right. Yes.
and but she can tell you all about that if you
Yeah.
talk
Yeah.
to her.
Yes.
And so yeah, I go and do her classes, and she comes to me for some hands-on stuff, and we just
Cool.
catch up. So it's really cool that we are not competing.
Mm.
We both sort of do the same thing, but it's kind of cool. It's really cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It is really cool. I think it's a perfect example of how people in the same industry can help each other, even if we're geographically close to each other.
Yeah,
And it's about it growing the pie and your slice, but getting bigger rather than stealing pie off each other.
yeah,
And I think that's a really important. I think that's a really important attitude for the industry. I think we've grown up a lot in the industry, haven't we? I
yeah.
don't think people think like that much anymore. Uh,
No.
might be different in big box gyms potentially, but I think we've kind of got past that thinking, which is that's my experience anyway.
Well, we all got small businesses. If we don't
Mm,
support each other, then So
yeah,
if she
yeah,
has more people going to her, that doesn't mean that I'm bad. It just means that those
mm,
people suit her, or she's doing something that they enjoy. She's
yeah,
got a different personality to me. She's going to attract a different crowd to what I
yeah.
attract. And even if we attracted the same, I, I always support her
Mm,
because, and she supports me. She's great. She's great at supporting any of her friends. I think we
mm,
should,
mm,
as an industry, support each other because it is something that's very much needed. And it's one of those things that would be dropped kind of first as well, but we would
yeah.
have a lot less ACC stuff and a lot less other things if this was something that was, if we just kept supporting each other and made it the normal. It's normal to do
Mm,
it. We should all
mm,
be doing some form of exercise.
yeah,
The gyms,
yeah. Mm,
some the gyms are great that they've got their places that they do their things, but some people prefer not being in a gym. Some people like the small studio, the little
yeah,
atmosphere of having something smaller. They're
yeah.
not around other people, and
Mm,
some people like the atmosphere of the gyms.
mm,
Yeah,
Yeah, there's something for everyone.
yeah,
Yeah. It's about that time that
yes.
I will pick your brains and ask you
Mhm.
for your top tips. What would your top tips be to fellow health professional getting into the industry, wanting to make a go of it? That's usually kind of who the tips are for, and it doesn't matter where it what what angle it is, whether it's personal, professional, business. What would yours be?
Um, well, we've talked about it. Listening, making sure
Yeah,
a good
yeah,
PT is a person that could listen to their client,
yeah, yeah,
ask them questions, um, check in as they're doing movements. We don't always have to correct everything that they do. If they have a wider stance for a squat and not the normal narrow stance, or their feet turn out, it could be a structural thing. What feels more
mm,
comfortable for them? Let them kind of choose their happy movement without like
yes,
too much changing,
yeah,
unless you
yeah,
needed to. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. I do, I
Um,
do.
Always be prepared to change the session if need be. So checking in
Yeah.
on when they come in. So not always being dead, this is what we have to do. This is our 8 week thing, and every week we have to go up. They might not be able to do it that week. They might go stronger. So you might
Mm,
skip a training or skip a level or
yeah.
whatever. So it
Sure.
every week will be different.
Sure.
Um,
Mm.
it's escaped my mind now. What else is there? Oh my gosh, I knew this was going to happen.
That's okay.
So, what did I say? Listening, changing your sessions.
Yeah, being flexible.
Um, yeah, being flexible. Uh, I know they're going to come in and hate certain exercises and stuff like that as well. If you can sort of change it up a bit or make it
Mm.
so that it's something fun that they can do. Oh,
Hmm.
play is always great, making a session fun, or somebody is really restricted or really scared to move, doing something
Yeah.
again that you can talk to them so they forget and they're doing the movement they need to do without realizing that they actually moving, and they forget about
Yes.
their pain.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
um
Smart.
Passionate. I think if you don't know what you're doing, ask for advice. There's always someone there.
Mm.
Find someone that you can talk to,
Yeah.
bounce ideas off. Research is great if you can always do that. But I really think if you can find, if you work with somebody or a colleague that you can bounce ideas off with, because you're going to have those tricky clients that you don't know,
Yeah. Yeah.
might not know, and you need a little bit of help.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to refer on. If you find that that person is not, it's too challenging or not the right type for you, it doesn't mean that you're not good. It just means that they would benefit more with
Yeah. Yes.
somebody else taking them. So,
Yes.
if you're a bodybuilder and you like working with people that are bodybuilders and you get somebody that's a rehab client and that's not your gig, that's all
Yeah.
right. Send it to someone else
Yeah.
because both of you are going to struggle with that, especially
Yeah.
if it's not something you enjoy doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think,
And it's an opportunity to open up your network if you haven't ever done that before,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. Cool.
And I think as we go, when you first come in, you're all passionate and ready and go hard and you've learned it and you want to just do it, do it, do it.
Hmm.
It does. I think if you can keep learning, trying to learn new things, it keeps that passion going for what you're
Mm,
doing. I think we
mm,
do
mm.
get that 3 year, 7 year mark where you just get a bit,
Yeah.
and make time for yourself so you don't have burnout.
Yeah. I love
Don't,
that. Yeah.
yeah, be kind to you. I know we want to help people so much, but we've also got to take that time for ourselves as well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Absolutely.
yeah, business. I don't have a long-term business plan because I just love what I do, and I'm
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
lucky that I can do what I'm doing at home. My kids can be home. I can flexible. I can do what I need to do.
Brilliant.
Um, I think, yeah, I'm very lucky with that. So no long
Mm.
term. I'm just going to keep doing what I'm
Keep
doing
doing
and
it. It's
enjoy
working.
it and
Yeah.
keep learning, and um, that's it. I think.
Cool. I
Yes.
like it. I like it. That's quite a good list. I've been scribbling those down, so I
Oh, cool.
usually I'll chuck those underneath the show notes in the
Okay.
episode. And the other thing that I'll do is put places that people can find you. So if someone wanted to reach out, Madre, where would be a good way to find you?
Uh, as in social media.
Could be, yeah. I've got your website, so
Yeah, they can do
I'll
my
drop your website.
website.
Yeah,
I've on my Facebook page or my Instagram. They can get me there as well, which is also Imbalance Fitness. I think my
that
Instagram
is
is
okay.
Madre underscore Imbalance Fitness. I think.
Underscore imbalance fitness.
Yeah.
Okay, excellent. I will
So
go hunting.
usually I get messages, so I'll answer
Hmm.
messages, or you can text me because my phone number should be there as well. So
Okay, cool. Thanks.
usually,
Oh, you've got links to Facebook and Insta on your
yes,
website, as
yeah,
I just
yeah,
noticed. Yeah, yeah, easy peasy. I will add them into the show notes so people can reach out if they want to.
yay!
Awesome. Thank you very much for your time. It's been great chatting.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. Thank you.
Good.
Yay!
Excellent. Have a good weekend. Cheers.
You too.
See
Take
ya.
care.
Bye.
Bye.